I'm running the meeting. So isn't technology great when it works? All right, and now Jim Robinson with a Student of the Month. And your certificate is right here.
Well, it is my great pleasure to be introducing our quite outstanding Student of the Month, but I'm going to start with her guests, which are three, starting with Amanda Palmstead here, and this is Mom 1, who is Lori Chunk. I'm sorry, Renee Shunk and Lori Clemens, yes. Anyway, and Emma. Now, let me just say a few things before Emma comes up here about her. She has emphasized in her high school career service. In fact, she belongs to an organization called SHINE, which exists to connect high school students, their members, with service projects throughout the community. And in fact, I noticed in her recognition and awards, she in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade got the Shining Scarlet Award, which I assume has something to do with shine. Is that correct? A little bit. Okay. Well, anyway, she definitely shines out in high school. She, besides being a member of the Shine Club, she was a National Honor Society member in 11th and 12th grade. Served as she was a National Merit Scholarship commended student in 12th grade. She's served on a tech crew on producing stage plays, and last summer served in the chemistry department as an intern at Gustavus Adolphus College, which she's pursuing her interests in chemistry, and she plans to go to college, and she can tell us a few more things about that. She seems to be favoring the West Coast, Pomona College, Occidental College, Caltech, and Stanford. And she tells me that she's been given quite a good support package from, of all places, Stanford University. So, and she plans to earn her bachelor's and pursue a master's eventually. So, if you would, please, Emma, let's give her a good welcome. And Emma's going to just tell us a little bit about her life with her two moms. Oh, okay. And a little bit about her future plans and a little bit about her service experience.
So as Jim said, I'm Emma. I brought my school counselor, Amanda Palmstead, and my two moms, Renee and Lori. I'm really happy to be getting this award. I'm really happy to be getting this award. I've tried to be involved with school a lot, especially Shine Club. I've been involved 4 years now, since 9th grade. And that club's been really important to me because we focus a lot on community and volunteering. One thing I focus on, especially in that club, is I've gone to the Echo Food Shelf and helped with volunteering there. And I think we plan to go again this month. So I'm looking forward to that. But I've also found the Echo Food Shelf to be a really important part of my community, because I remember when I was younger, I would go with two family friends, Roger and Kathy Taylor, and we would go and donate food from their garden and that kind of thing. Beyond the community, I am hoping to go to college. I've applied to the U of M Twin Cities, Carleton, and then some schools on the West Coast like Stanford and Pomona. And I'm hoping to pursue chemistry as a bachelor's and then a master's in chemistry somewhere. I don't know where yet. But I'm hoping to pursue my education, hopefully do volunteering opportunities wherever I end up, and keep on being involved with my community wherever that may be. Thank you.
You need both of us or just her? I would prefer.
Both of you.
Oh,
I would prefer you to be in all the pictures this year. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
all right, thank you. All right, and now let's see. Let me get, I don't know if anybody can see this, but I'll get this out of the way. There we go. Thank you and congratulations, Emma, and best wishes on the future. It sounds like it's going to be a bright one. So we'd like to hear about that after you've graduated. If you want to endow the club with some money or something, that would be great. But now it's time for our speaker. Megan Schnitker is the owner operator of Lakota Made, which operates out of a store down on North Riverfront. If you've not seen, she's been featured in several articles in the Free Press. And today, I believe you're going to speak about the use of plants and natural remedies. It's a very interesting talk. I've heard this before. So let's give a great Kiwanis welcome for Megan Schnitker.
In my language, that means hello, my relatives. I am Lakota. I am from Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. I moved here on the 25th of this month. It'll be 6 years. I originally moved here to do a recovery nonprofit. We did that for a few years, and then I became a stay-at-home mom when there was a gap in funding for that nonprofit. That was going to be way longer than a landlord would allow. And so I became a stay-at-home mom. And my husband, Ethan Schnitker, he works in construction, worked in property management, and I was at home making staffs for our family that I have done since I was 16 years old. And my husband told me that, well, you should probably try and sell these as, you know, milk money or something like that, because I'm forever texting him like, hey, so-and-so needs diapers, we need juice. And so my husband was like, you should try and sell these things. And I'm like, but I don't think anybody would buy these things. Well, I owe him a Gatorade shower about every day because he was right. And so we tease each other all the time when someone's right or wrong. You know, we do the sports ball thing of the Gatorade shower. And so every once in a while, he's like, well, remember, you know, we're doing this because I was right. It's like, yes, you were right that one time. And so growing up, I grew up in South Central South Dakota, where my nearest neighbor was 5 miles away. And so I grew up on my grandparents' farm, and we, you know, both my parents worked and went to school full time. And so a majority of my time was spent on my grandparents' farm with my uncle and my cousins. And so riding horses bareback, trying to figure out how to start the tractor without getting in trouble, and playing outside was from the sun up to sundown thing throughout my entire childhood. And so my grandma was, if you're not in the house helping me, you have to go outside. And so we all went outside all the time. And so my grandma was a Depression era kid, and so she saved absolutely everything. When she passed away, we cleaned out one of her freezers, and there was like a spoonful of peas in a freezer bag that was from 1993. And so she was one of those that saved everything. Everything has a purpose. And so if you ever come to my house, you're not allowed in my basement because I am that hoarder of jars. But so growing up there, we were outside all the time. And a big part of my childhood was chasing cows and horses and helping out in the garden. And while we were outside, there was me, my younger brother, Mitch, who just started working for me, and then my two cousins, Curtis and Ashley. And being outside, of course, you're going to get a cut, scrape, bruise. You're going to get stung by something, chased by something. You're going to fall down a hill because that's where we lived. And so we weren't allowed back in the house unless we were dead, dying, or bleeding. And so, because nobody wanted to help in the house. So my uncle started telling us when we were really young, probably like 4 or 5 years old, about plants that would help us out, and then plants for snacks, and all these other things. And I thought that was general knowledge growing up. I thought that everyone understood these things. And then I get up growing up, and I get to be in adulthood, and I'm making stuff for, you know, my family and things like that. And then my friend Andrea, who grew up in Texas, she was like, what is all this stuff? And why are you picking stuff out of your yard? And then it kind of hit me that not everybody knows what this stuff is. And so I grew up with a family that did traditional practices. We grew up in our culture. And so, you know, learning the language and plants and history and things like that was like an everyday part of my life. And so, you know, when my friend Andrea kind of let me know that this wasn't common knowledge, you know, I started to really absorb as much as possible, because I realized that our elders who we learned from, you know, who had all this knowledge, were passing away, and a lot of that knowledge was going with them. So I spent a lot of time with my grandpas and my aunts and my uncles and everyone that was older than me that had cultural history and knowledge. And I was the annoying granddaughter or niece that was always asking questions and writing it all down. Most of the time, I didn't write all of it down. I do have adult ADHD, so writing things down kind of forgets. But so I always ask questions, and I have always learned all the stories. And so when I got to be, you know, an adult and a mom, and I started making all this stuff for my kids, I was just continuously just always asking questions. And then, so when my husband, I was making all these salves for our kids, because, you know, I make stuff for diaper rashes and cuts and scrapes and everything. And so I was making these batches. My husband's like, well, why don't you sell this? And I'm like, but nobody knows what this is. And he was like, well, why don't you just teach them? And I'm like, you know how exhausting that is? No, I'm kidding. And it turned out into be quite the business. We've been doing this since 2018. Lakota Made has been a business, and we started out at vendor events, and I did vendor events for 2.5 years. And then just this past June, I opened my first retail store. We are working with the Small Business Development Center, Nancy Goodwin, and we have a goal of opening another store in either Minneapolis or Duluth next year. We have sent out over 35,000 orders in the last, since 2018. So our shipping department goes all, you know, Monday through Friday, 8 days, 8 hours a day, which is kind of crazy because I make all these in pretty small batches. I make everything that is in my store, and I've made it all my entire life. And so when people come to me, well, I have this or I have that, what do you use for that? I have something for that. And so I make all of our personal care products, all of our shampoos, all of our facial things, all of our coughs and cold remedies. I make all of our topical treatments because for whatever reason, being the plant person, my kids are super sensitive to anything chemical. And so they use all natural products on their bodies. And that's, you know, a majority of what I do. Not just as a parent, but as a business person. And so when people come into my store, there's tons of questions all day, every day, and it's a lot of fun. So even my husband his Gatorade today, and he was like, well, what are you doing today? And we're going through the calendar. I was like, oh yeah, I have to go talk to Kiwanis today. And so he was like, okay, so where's my Gatorade? Because remember, I told you this was a good idea. You're gonna have to educate people. I was like, oh yes, Gatorade every day. I'll bring you Gatorade when I come back. And so, talking about, you know, plant medicine, things like that. A lot of people don't understand or know that everything that grows outside has a purpose and has a use, whether it's food or it's medicine. The way that we grew up, or the way that, you know, Indigenous people have been, is that we have lived in harmony with nature. And so we lived outside and we traveled throughout the whole, what we call Turtle Island or North America now. And all these plants, all these trees, all these funguses are what kept us alive. They are what kept our bodies functioning, because if someone had to, someone caught a cold or something like that, the whole camp had to stop and take care of them. And so we saw food as preventative medicine. And so everything that we ate had a purpose. And so a lot of us ate buffalo, what we call Lakota people, Nakota is called, our bigger tribe is called Otechi Shakuni. And so all those tribes under there, we mainly hunted buffalo, but there was other game, but a huge portion of our diet, like up to 80% of our diet was nuts, berries, plants, funguses. And so we still, 150 years later, after, we're all living where we live now, a lot of us are lactose intolerant. My whole family is. And so milk isn't something that we really, something that is a big part of our diet. So cheese and things like that are pretty hard on us. So, but there's actually plants that grow outside that have more calcium than cow's milk, that have more protein than a lot of the meats that you can get in the grocery store. And so, so it's warm time, or summertime, or the warm months, that's the exciting time for me and my family, because we're always outside and we're always getting our food. We're eating fresh salads, and we're eating mushrooms, and we're mushroom hunting. Even now we can still go outside and go mushroom hunting and still gather food. And so eating like that has been a massive game changer for me and my family, because I have rheumatoid arthritis. I've had it since I was 19, 20, 21. And so being able to survive this long without meds, without Western medicine, has been a pretty big thing for me. And it's all about what we incorporate into my diet every day. I'm sure all of you have heard of stinging nettle, right? Come and contact it. Did you know? Yep. That actually is an amazing superfood, because it has so much calcium and protein and minerals in it that, and it's a major anti-inflammatory. And so I eat that every day. I put it in my food. I use it in my teas. And it has been amazing. And it actually gives me like a burst of energy, so I don't have to rely so heavily on coffee, which is kind of crazy. I have a thing with coffee too. But actually dandelion roots, you can make coffee out of dandelion roots, and it tastes exactly like the coffee you would get in the store. And it has like a sweet kind of mocha flavor to it. My mom uses it all the time. And so like everything as far as like dandelion, stinging nettle, even poison ivy have a purpose. We used to use those, we used to harvest those, and we would boil them in water, and then we would take that water and we would brush it on the outside of our lodges to keep the bugs out, to keep the mice out. We would also line where we kept our horses with that water as well, and would keep snakes and mice away from the horses. And so everything had a purpose. These trees, we used to follow oak trees, because if you cut a young branch, there's a star in there. And where that star meant that certain mushrooms grew there. And that was some pretty powerful medicine that we use even today. My grandpa Richard, he was he's what we call in English, a medicine man. And so, or a spiritual leader. And so he's our spiritual leader for our family. And so every couple months he calls me, and he's like, Megan, I need more stuff. And so everything, I drop everything and I fulfill his order, and we go out there and I hand him, most of our sacred medicines, which is like flaxseed, sage, osha root, or bear root, we call it. And bitter root, there's like I bring him trash cans full of stuff. And so a lot of the things that we do with Lakota Made is educating the general public about what grows in your yard. I provide classes. Not so much lately, because it's been kind of crazy with the store since the store opened. It's an everyday adventure, keeping our shipping going and keeping the store stocked. I make about 25,000 individual products a week. And that's a lot. So we have everything from shampoo bars, lotion bars, deodorant bars, plant salves for, antifungal heat, cuts, burns, scrapes, random rashes. We have them for tattoos. We have them for just about everything under the sun. And we do this because it's, everything that is in Lakota Made is, we try to be as plastic free as possible. And so we try to be as eco-friendly as possible as we are in our store. So business owners, if you guys get packaging, bubble wrap, paper, anything like that, we take that and then recycle it. We keep it out of the landfill. And so we use it as much as possible, so much so that our customers ship it back to us. They ship it back to us. We get big boxes at least 2 to 3 times a week, where our customers have saved, or they have gone to different businesses in their communities and sent us their bubble wrap, or sent us their packaging from their, their shipping and materials and things like that. And so we try and not do plastic, even though it's a part of our culture. So we do as much as we can to recycle it. And then all of our packaging for our products is plastic free. We recycle the soap bags that you can come get. We recycle all the jars that we have. We have a way to reuse all of that. So every day I come to work and there's bags and boxes of jars and bags and bubble wrap, waiting for me. We're almost running out of space. We have been in the Frost Plaza building for just over a year, and we've almost outgrown it. We have taken over half that basement. We remodeled it and turned it into our production space. And then we also have our store in the Suite 160, which is right behind the Wooden Spoon, same building. And our store is almost too small now. And we've only been open since June. And it's crazy how well received our business has been. And how much my husband has to rub it in, multiple times a day that he's right. It's just that one time, just the one time, about how right he was about starting this business, because I was super hesitant about it. Just because I didn't think that, it would be as well received. The classes that I have taught, which are, traditional plant medicine, teaching you basic plants of, what commonly grows around here, to advanced plant classes. I've had over 4,800 people in the Mankato Shakopee area that have attended my classes, whether in person or virtually. I travel as far as Omaha, Nebraska to do plant classes. I travel quite a bit back to South Dakota to my reservation and the other 9 reservations in South Dakota to teach plant medicine. Traditional herbalism isn't something that is well taught in our culture, and so it's not well documented. And so a lot of the things that we have for our plant medicine are oral traditions and oral stories. However, the Smithsonian has reached out to me, and they have lots and lots of books from a lot of the priests and teachers that have come to the reservations over the years, or since the start of the reservations, and they have documented all kinds of stuff, and they want me to come look at their books. And so I have to bring a language expert with me because I'm not a fluent speaker in my language, but my uncle is. And so we're planning a trip to the Smithsonian to look at all these books that they have that the Smithsonian has kept for us, as far as like looking at really old stories and different documents, because I can rattle off 300 plants, but there's well over 1 million different species outside. And so just because I'm really fluent in 300 plants doesn't make me an expert. But it has been a really fun business. It's definitely something that I never thought I would do growing up. I'm still trying to figure out what I do when I grow up, what I want to do when I grow up. Anyway, I'm 38, we'll figure it out. And my kids, I have 6 kids. I have, they're all girls. My oldest is 12, my youngest is 2, and they all come help out. My 2-year-old helps. She likes to rearrange everything from her height and below. My 12-year-old, she's my stepdaughter, and she's pretty cool. She's into fish, and now she's getting into houseplants, and now she's starting to learn a little bit more about our business. And then my 10-year-old and my 8-year-old, oh,
I'm sorry, every once in a while, I thought maybe it would make it.
all right. This one, right? Oh, no. This one? That one, yeah. There you go.
Okay.
My 8-year-old, her name is Ava, and you'll see her if you follow me on Facebook or any social media, look on our website, or come to a vendor fair and see me there, you'll always see her with me. She can tell you about any product that I have. She helps make it, she helps bag and tag it, she helps label it, and she helps me go to vendor markets and helps me sell it. She has told all her sisters that this is her business when I'm done. And so she's pretty cool. She's 8 years old, knows how to run the business. She can run the store by herself. She can go to a vendor market, doesn't need any help. She can upsell people. She can oversell people. And she's cute, and she definitely knows it. And so, and so she has a great time. And so this definitely is a family business. I have 3 younger biological brothers. 2 of them work for me now. And so we also have an MSU graduate. She graduated this past May from the American Indian Studies Department. Claire Carroll, she works for me as well. And then Sabrina Mercedes, she works for me. And then we just hired Cyrus Braveheart. I don't know if any of you know Dave Braveheart. It's one of his sons. Just started for me as well. And of course, my husband works for me. And so that's the plus of him winning, is that he gets to work for me. And so I'm in charge. And which is kind of crazy. I'm in charge of like 12 people every day. So when I say I forgot something, I'm like in charge of 12 people. So I don't know how bigger businesses do it, but keeping track of 12 people is a little bit much. Anyway, and so that's just a little bit about Lakota Made. We do, I do a lot of online classes, and we'll be getting started with those at the end of this month. We'll also be doing, opening up my classroom in my shop for in-person classes as well, private shopping, private events as well. And right now we're getting ready for holiday markets, which is kind of crazy. This weekend we'll be in Rochester, and then the weekend of Thanksgiving will be in Duluth. And then I think we are booked at a market every weekend until after Christmas. Until then, and so we'll be keeping our store open, as well as doing vendor markets and things like that. And then as soon as the holidays are done, we'll be definitely ramping up with more classes and things like that. So thank you. Yes.
Did you have to go through the government red tape, FDA?
No, so the way that Minnesota works is I follow under, I forget it's like a chapter 13D or something like that. It is an unlicensed practitioner. And so everyone knows I am not a doctor. I am not licensed to be a doctor. I do not provide medical advice at all. And so plant medicine, because I use it under my cultural practices, that I don't have to be FDA or anything like that, because I'm not selling any actual, pills or anything like that. Everything is loose leaf and salves and things like that. I am not under any FDA regulations. I am under quite a few different laws as far as like, clean facility, packaging, sealing, things like that. But no, we're not FDA approved.
Where do you derive your raw product? You make a lot of products, so it must be a large area. Or how do you get your raw products?
So we do a lot of our own harvesting. And so throughout the entire growing season, even the cold seasons, there's a lot of different plants and funguses that we still go out and harvest. We also have the Prairie Enthusiasts. They're another group here in town. They do a lot of prairie restorations and things like that. So when they have a plant that they don't like, they call me and I'll come get it. Or they'll show up at my shop with like a couple truckloads and trailerfuls, and they're like, "Can you use this?" I'm like,
Where do you physically go to harvest this? I mean, is there some land that you own that you harvest this stuff?
no, I don't own any land right now. Hopefully in the next 2 years I'll be buying some. But we go to any Prairie Enthusiast club member where we can go to their land. There's public lands that we're allowed to go to, and then we have we made lots of friends with the farmers market people, so we know lots of local farmers that let us take off to their lands as well.
Megan, my favorite product of yours is the healing salve. What's your most popular?
Most popular elderberry products. Those ones go like nobody's business. I just made 56 elderberry mullein tonics on Thursday, and they are all gone. That is our most popular one. Otherwise, it is a honey lavender shampoo bar, and then it is probably triple healing salve or any of the lead plant salves. There's like they all kind of compete with each other. There's like 12 products that are always in the same top 6, top 3.
Oh, he asked a question.
Oh, he has a question. Oh, okay.
Can you say what your hours are?
Store hours are Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 1 to 6 p.m., Saturdays 10 to 4.
Give the address again, if you would.
Yeah, 515 North Riverfront Drive. And so it's the side door of the Wooden Spoon building. Most people know where the Wooden Spoon is. So
What's your website?
LakotaMade.com, and we ship around the world. We ship to Australia quite a bit, Ireland, China a couple times. So we're around the world shipping.
Any other questions? All right. I'm sure many of us will be wandering down to Lakota Made. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1 to 6, and Saturday, 10 to 5? 10 to 4. Okay, don't go at 5, they won't be there. All right, well, thank you very much for everybody coming today. Nicole, we welcome you always as Howard's guest and forever as a club member if you decide to go that route. So just let us know, we can arrange that. And thanks to everybody, as I said, for being here today. I see next week, Jamil has lined up somebody to speak, and that will be Rachel Hamill. We'll be talking about an interdisciplinary storytelling effort at MSU. If anybody knows Rachel, you know that'll be a very interesting topic to hear from. She wrote the book, We'll Be the Last to Let You Down, about her family of funeral home operators. So I thought that was a clever title for that. All right, and once again, if you'd like to join us in singing when Kiwanis calls, and then we'll go out on our own for the rest of the week. Kiwanis calls, when Kiwanis calls, when everyone says God. When Kiwanis calls, when Kiwanis calls, it's one great